Well, thank you indeed for staying with us here on KTN Business today. Of course, on this second part of the show, we'll bring you up to speed on various stories that have been developing over the past 1 hour, and also go across borders to bring you up to speed on what exactly is happening in terms of the G8 summit that is out there, as well as several other stories that are currently, well, making a big deal of the business. Well, let's get down to it. Now, MultiChoice Kenya has announced 2 high-profile executive appointments with two East Africans taking up senior leadership positions within the business. According to the company, these appointments will further strengthen the business's strategy to become more relevant to its consumers. Now, Stephanie Saboke, the current East Africa Regional Director and acting for West Africa, has been appointed to the position of Africa's Group Executive Head of Regulatory with effect from June the 1st, 2018. He will be based in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Now, meanwhile, Maharage Chande, who is currently the MultiChoice Tanzanian Managing Director, will step into Stephen's regional role of Regional Director for East and in an acting capacity for the West African region. Now, at the same time, Maharage will continue to look after the Tanzanian market. Well, now 4 trucks carrying a total of 600 barrels of crude oil, approximately 100,000 liters, that left Lokichar in Turkana County on Sunday, have arrived at the Kenya Petroleum Refinery Depot in Changamwe in Mombasa County, at hand to receive the oil which is being evacuated from the oil fields in Ngamia 3, where top government officials alongside Talo Oil Managing Director Martin Mbogo. Now, the trucks ferrying the crude kicked off their journey over the weekend from a place called Nakululas in Lokichar after President Uhuru Kenyatta did the flag off for the first batch of crude under the early oil pilot scheme. The crude oil will be stored at the KPRL with more quantities expected over the next 6 months. In total, about 400,000 barrels of oil, enough to fill one ship, will be stockpiled as Kenya intensifies her quest to become an oil-producing country. Our coast-based reporters will be on that story for the rest of the day and will bring us up to speed in our subsequent bulletins right here on KTN News.
It will affect the mining department. You see, when we bring investors to this country, they mean quite a lot. But one critical item which we must be able to lay a framework is actually the interface between the community and the investor. And I think, again, it was very historic the last 2 weeks when the Turkana leaders met and decided that they'll be able to support the product, and given 5%, I think you must have heard, which they agreed 5%, which will be actually used to develop within host communities in the county. And of course, 20% will be used within the county. 70%, 75% will be national. I think we look at from this perspective that kind of investment, 5%, will be used to develop various kind of projects within the sub-continent in which the oil is being, in which we get oil from. Now, the other 20%, of course, will be used in the county, but still, partly actually will still go to the counties, to the sub-county in which we are getting oil from. Now, 70%, the national, will still be used to provide services in terms of security, in terms of teachers, in terms of provision for other services. Again, will be reverted back to the community. So I think overall, when you look at it, I think still the county, which we are getting all the Turkana County, and all the other counties, of course, we should be able to benefit or be able to reap those kind of benefits which are coming. Now, notwithstanding that, I think the key issue, and quite often it has been mentioned that let us see the oil kind of development production as a benefit, not a curse. Because if you look at the areas kind of sections, the other countries which again have come up, and I don't want to mention, is it has become more of a curse than development issue. So I think in terms of Turkana and Kenya as a whole, we are seeing this one as a big kind of development which will give us tremendous kind of benefits in this country. One, of course, is 30% in terms of local content will be actually plowed back to the county. And when we say 30%, in terms of what you are discussing, 100 trucks which will be coming forwards, this way, 30% of those trucks actually should be able to be supplied within the county by the investors within that county. We are looking so far that Talo has done quite a lot of good work, but again, we still request that you work on a good program where still you invest more so that people in the county and Kenya at large can be able to develop. Now, we are looking at key factors like capacity building. We know this is a sector whereby we don't have a lot of expertise. So again, we are looking forward to make sure that we give scholarship people who can be able to study oil and gas engineering and drilling engineering and the others. And apart from that, build technical colleges which can be able actually to upgrade the mid-level group. And I think that when you are doing so far. But maybe what you ask you step up so that we can be able again to benefit more. And especially as we go towards commercialization stage in the near future. You must have heard again that it took 4 days.
Well, that, of course, is the CAS, or Cabinet Administrative Secretary for Oil and Petroleum, John Musonik, who was on hand to receive the trucks that bore the first part of the early oil scheme into Mombasa. And, of course, we wish them well, and we will all be waiting to see what comes of the effort. Now, moving across the country, this time to Embu. Now, bar owners are up in arms over what they term harassment by Nakada officials and the local provincial administration. Now, among the complaints that the traders have had is that while the county government has been licensing them, they have been arrested, harassed, and their property destroyed by various other arms of the national government. Take a look.
Sijui kwa nini mtu ashikwe kwa sababu ya license. License, kazi ya license ni ya county. Kulingana na katiba inasema vizuri sana ya mambo ya devolution, mambo ya license iko kwa ofisi yangu. Na sisi kama Embu County hatujapatia mtu yoyote license mwaka huu.
Bas na pombe sio bangi, iko na license. Na ile imefanya tukuje hapa, watu wetu walishikwa usiku kutoka asubuhi mpaka mchana mpaka saa 8 ya usiku. Na wakapelekwa kotini leo asubuhi. Na jana kwenda police station tulinyimwa mpaka cash bill. So walikuja wakaniambia nifunge milango na nitoke, na wakashika mfanyikazi wangu na wakampeleka station. Kwenda station nikafuatilia huyo mfanyikazi wangu, nikaambia OCS nataka unipatie cash bill ili niweze kutoa mfanyikazi wangu ili kesho aende kotini. Walikataa.
Well, indeed, quite a tussle right there in the grey areas of the Constitution. Now, we move to Makueni, where, like many parts of Kenya, it has been receiving heavy rains since March this year. Now, floods have wreaked havoc in many parts of Makueni County as a result. Now, the heavy rains have brought many diseases, parasites, and infection to cattle, goats, sheep, dogs, and other farm animals. And to mitigate this, Makueni County government has partnered with the University of Nairobi's Veterinary Emergency Response Unit and the World Animal Protection Agency to, protect at least 210,000 animals that are expected to be vaccinated by the end of that exercise. Makueni Governor Professor Kivutha Kibwana officially flagged off the vaccination drive and emphasized the need for a proactive drive to insulate animals against grave exposure. Among some of the diseases that the livestock are at threat of include trypanosomiasis, lumpy skin disease, foot rot, Rift Valley fever, East Coast fever, rabies, and respiratory infections, among others. Well, to our final story now, where it is the end of an era as veteran businessman come founder of Equity Bank. Well, Peter Monga has announced his retirement as chairman of the listed bank here in Kenya. Now, Monga exits the bank after having served in the industry for an illustrious 35 years of service. That's since 1984, all of them at Equity Bank. Monga will be replaced by David Ansel, who has been vice chairman thus far, who now becomes the chairman designate. Dr. Monga, who has been founder chairman since 1984, expressed his desire to retire from the bank to mark his 35 years of service as he celebrated his 75th birthday. Now, Monga and Ansel will continue to work collaboratively to ensure a smooth transition that will be completed by the next time that an AGM is held in 2019. Monga is amongst Kenya's top billionaires with interests in various firms in and outside the region. Well, of course, one interesting perspective from that story is the fact that just a month ago, Monga did stand for re-election as company chairman at the organization's annual general meeting, and of course swept through, and in the recent weeks has been, well, whittling down his shareholding of that company in a sell-off that has, well, raised trade at the NSE to interesting levels. Now, across borders, Facebook says it will introduce U.S. news programs this year hosted by Anderson Cooper of CNN, Shepard Smith of Fox News, and Jorge Ramos of Univision to try to improve the quality of news on the social media network. Facebook is paying the three companies and other news organizations to produce shows for its video service known as Watch, in the hopes of countering false news stories and boosting the social network's fledgling video ad business. The shows would be original to Facebook and would launch in the coming months with ad breaks.
The heat here is incredible. That fissure number 20 has been gushing lava.
I'm Shepard Smith on Facebook Live with a Fox News update.
Welcome to Full Circle, CNN's live nightly newscast here on Facebook.
Los videos más comentados en redes sociales.
Money, influence, and power. Public corruption is all around us.
Not enough people are paying attention to the crisis in Venezuela.
We're headed to D.C. They're going to bring their message.
Let's talk about the real America on Facebook Watch.
Well, of course, to remind you that that name is indeed pronounced Jorge, despite being, well, written as Jorge. Now, a flying car project backed by Google co-founder Larry Page was closer to takeoff on Wednesday with a model for test flights by aspiring banners. Now, Kitty Hawk, funded by Page, unveiled a flyer model it described as an exciting first step to sharing the freedom of flight. The company was created last year in Google's hometown of Mountain View in California and has been testing a prototype in New Zealand. Kitty Hawk Chief Executive Officer Sebastian Thrun, who founded the Google X Lab, devoted to moonshots such as self-driving cars and the internet-synced eyewear, was quoted by CNN as saying that piloting Flyer was as easy as playing the video game Minecraft. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we had for here on KTN Business today. It has indeed been a real pleasure. Of course, coming up in just a few minutes, be your KTN from the Swahili desk here at KTN News with Nick Wambua. That, of course, is just in a few minutes, but also to remind you that we will be bringing new updates from the G7 summit, which, well, should be getting underway over the next few hours in Canada, in Quebec, actually. And of course, we will be back right here again tomorrow with more from the world of business for the last day of the week. My name is Peter Akaba. Do continue to enjoy your viewing, and kwaheri ya kuonana.